she still doesn't understand there's a huge difference between royalty and celebrity. I think she's stunned by the fact that members of the royal family don't have agents.
Hi, all. Welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm Kinsey Schofield here with Kevin O'Sullivan, the star of What Just Happened, as well as you're on Drive Time on Talk, which is also, you've been very busy this week because we've had another prime minister. Another one bites the dust, as Queen would say.
Yeah. Do you know, Kinsey, I'm so old that I can remember when a prime minister resigning and us getting a new prime minister was a big news event. Now it happens about once every 6 months. We have turned into a really weird country, not very governable. So, yeah, so it's been an interesting week on the political front. You know, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, as the Who said. So here we go. Here we go again.
Do we have any idea about how King Charles? Well, we don't know who's up next, really. But we kind of do. I'm sorry, I'm spacing on his name.
Andy Burnham. No, it's Andy Burnham. It's 100%. Yes. I don't know if the King would have spoken to Andy Burnham yet. Probably not. But certainly, you know, such is the strange constitutional nature of Britain that when Keir Starmer, he's still our current prime minister, but when he decided over this past weekend, yeah, my time is up, I am going to have to resign. Before doing so, he has to contact the sovereign and inform him. So because of our constitution, before Keir Starmer, the prime minister, was able to resign, he has to get the consent of His Majesty King Charles. So he did that over the weekend, and he quit yesterday.
It's my understanding, although I don't think we're supposed to know this or even debate it, but YOLO. It's my understanding that the King kind of liked Keir Starmer. Do you think that he'll like Andy Burnham as much as he liked Keir Starmer? Because, you know, based on evidence that exists and patterns of events, it feels like the King might lean politically a little bit to their side.
Yeah, he liked Keir Starmer. He will probably like Andy Burnham. I mean, you know, we have a sort of, over here, we have this kind of medium party called the Lib Dems. So the Liberal Democrats. And they're basically soppy, green, claptrap people, you know, who believe in windmills and you know, kumbaya, and everybody sings songs and live together and all that rubbish. That's what the King is. That's the kind of political worldview he's got. So they're sort of leftish, but he's a left winger. He's a green, you know, net zero, social democrat kind of lefty. So he liked Keir Starmer because that's what Keir Starmer is, and he'll like Andy Burnham for the same reasons. You know, I think King Charles, he's a nice guy. He's a decent guy. But don't ask me about his politics, because his politics drive me mad. And I do think that both him and William, since I'm on a rant now, really egregiously abuse their royal positions, because they're not supposed to get involved in politics, and yet both of them campaign for net zero as if none of us have any objections to that. Well, I do.
Right. Well, because you're using your private helicopter as often as they are, you know.
There is their hypocrisy. They're very hypocritical about the environment. You know, everybody's got to go around on bicycles. Apart from them, it's private jets and helicopters for them, particularly the King. But, you know, the hypocrisy is one thing, but I don't like his politics generally. He's a sort of soppy, you know, left of centre, liberal bore, basically. Good man, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, normally I would be singing from the Alps about how much I love this king. I love King Charles. I do love King Charles. But this story that we're about to talk about has made me so uncomfortable that I've, you know, thought to myself, I will regret defending this family over the last 6 years. If this comes to fruition, Kev,
Mhm.
overjoyed King Charles will enjoy emotional reunion with grandkids Archie and Lilibet when they visit UK next month. This is coming from an outlet we really admire and we champion, The Sun. It's coming from a journalist we really admire and champion, Matt Wilkinson. So
Sure.
we have no reason to doubt the legitimacy of this. But you know as well as I do that the Sussex machine is all about how can we produce the next headline. They are kind of shameless in the production of headlines. And there's the truth versus their truth. And our audience really doubts that Meghan is going to show up with her shoes shined and her curtsy ready to go to see the king with the grandchildren. They're wondering if this is all just a publicity stunt. How do we navigate this conversation? And
It's
how do you feel?
it's a difficult conversation to navigate because Matt Wilkinson of the Sun, a very respected royal correspondent. I don't doubt for a second his stories, the veracity of his stories. The first story was that Harry, Meghan, and the kids were going to come back to Britain, which will be Meghan's first return trip to the UK since Megxit in 2020. Her first trip here for 6 years. You know me, Kinsey, I've said all the way along the line that I'd never believed she would step foot in this country ever again. So ostensibly, I'm being proved wrong.
Not
Uh,
yet.
yeah,
Maybe.
well, wait a second. Yeah. The other element of this story, again, I've got no truck with the veracity of Matt's sources or his stories. Uh, the other tranche of this story is that the king, as you just said, has generously offered a royal palace for Harry, Meghan, and the kids to stay in, a royal property. Funnily enough, not Frogmore Cottage, one assumes, because he took that away from them. Now, that's classic King Charles. I get it. He hasn't seen his grandkids for what is it, 4 years now?
Yeah,
He
and
wants.
we covered this. Remember when one of the last times Prince Harry was there, we covered that the king offered him a place to stay in one of the palaces, and Harry denied that. He rejected it and said it wasn't safe enough. So that's not out of the realm of past behavior. That I do believe that they were probably
Yeah,
offered a
yeah.
royal
So
estate.
he wants. Yeah, there's no doubt. He's, in my view, that that ostensibly the story of them coming back is true, and that the king has offered them a royal property to stay in while they're here. Um, then we come to the difficult bit, the two difficult bits. Well, the first is, will Meghan actually come back to Britain? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I've said from the moment Matt Wilkinson broke that excellent exclusive, my line on it was, I will believe it when I see it. I certainly wouldn't put it past the Sussex publicity machine to sort of drum up this story and then at the last minute come up with some sort of headline hitting reason for Meghan not coming or the kids not coming. No doubt Harry saying, "Well, you didn't get me a gun guard. You didn't give me any coppers with guns, so I'm not coming back." Want that again. I wouldn't put that past him. But the other aspect of this is in offering, Meghan and Harry, the gruesome twosome, and their kids a place to stay. The king has outraged William. William is furious. He is furious. The king is holding out this olive branch. I understand the king wants to see his grandchildren, but he is allowing a lot of water to have flown under the bridge to just say to Harry and Meghan, "Oh, welcome back. Here's a place for you to stay. Let's all get together." That is. I don't think that is fair to William or Kate or
Not
the
when
rest of.
not when 3 weeks ago Meghan was sending a Catherine troll, a Catherine critic, a goodie box from As Ever. Meghan was just
Yeah.
creating controversy or just creating friction with the Waleses 3 weeks ago by doing that. And let's not even not pretend that this is the same couple that allegedly told Omid Scobie that the royal racists were King Charles and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, which ended up in Endgame. Like I totally agree with you that if I'm Prince William and the Princess of Wales, Catherine, no way in hell am I having anything to do with this couple. In addition to that, while I understand the king trying to look like the bigger person and offering them a safe place to stay, doesn't it give them some credibility, Harry and Meghan, to be enveloped in that way again or to be given that spot?
Yeah, yeah. That's another reason why it may well be possible that they are coming back, because it would be a way of looking like Harry has achieved his most cherished dream of being welcomed back into the royal fold, forgiven for all his sins of the past. Well, the king is going to sort of basically say, okay, come back. I want to see the kids. But in so doing, he's really going to alienate William and Kate, especially, but also the rest of the royal family.
And
The rest
us,
of the
Kevin, and us. We have
and
put
Camilla,
ourselves on the line for the last 6 years.
exactly, and Camilla. So the king is going out on a limb here, and diplomatically within royal circles, this offer of accommodation in a royal palace or a royal property while Harry and Meghan are here is going to cause shockwaves. It already is. And stories in the press over the weekend here in Britain, in the Mail on Sunday, saying that in terms of the relationship between King Charles and his heir, his son, King William, that they're, or rather,
Almost
Prince
King William.
in the future, Prince William, yeah, that their relationship, and I quote, is not in a good place. There are problems here. There are problems here. And of course, once again, the reason William's furious is, oh, it's all down to Harry again. So the king, it's understandable. It's, on a human level, he wants to see his grandkids. I haven't seen them for 4 years, which is frankly bizarre. It's strange. But apart from that, I think he should think of all the other elements to this and maybe think again. Because here's the other thing, Kins, when they come back for this 1 year to go in Invictus Games party, the countdown party, I don't see why he has to have this really, but he is. Uh, um, who's going to go? I don't think the king will go because William won't like that. The rest of the royal family won't go. So Harry, it's put the case that Harry and Meghan and the kids do come back. Everywhere they go, it's going to look like they're being snubbed by the rest of the royal family. And the reason it will look like that is because they will be being snubbed by the rest of the royal family. The rest of the royal family, they can't stand, well, they specifically can't stand Meghan, and they hate what Meghan's done to Harry. So they don't want to see them. William and Kate, if they never see them again, it'll be too soon. So the king is really treading on eggshells here. He is in seriously dangerous territory. And, again, we admire him in many ways, but he is capable of making the most stupid decisions. And this one could well be his stupidest. He shouldn't be doing this, in my view. It's too explosive, too incendiary.
These are two liabilities when it comes to the future of the British royal family. Telling a journalist or an author or whatever we want to call him, a fantasist, whatever we want to call Omid Scobie, that the current sovereign and the future queen are allegedly racists. Do they not recognize that jeopardizes the monarchy, the stability, the authority of the monarchy? I am not in the mood to forgive and forget, specifically when it comes to Catherine, but why is King Charles not more cynical about what their ultimate objectives are? Because if they were in the mood to, reunite, why not go do it quietly at Sandringham or Balmoral? Why not go do it quietly when the family's off on vacation and they're not on and there are no expectations and you could really protect everyone's privacy driving in and out? We'd get no photos. I mean, Thomas Markle would love a reunion with his daughter, and it just feels like the ulterior motive here is the magic, the stardust that the royal family tends to give Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, here's the deal. This is what's really enraging William and other members of the royal family, especially Kate. It's that the king is notoriously a sort of soft man. He hates arguments. He hates confrontation. And if ever there's some kind of bitter split, he wants to be a Pollyanna and mend the bridges and make sure everything's nice and pleasant again. And that's what I think is at the back of his mind in terms of Harry, Meghan, and the kids. So I'll put them up in one of the palaces or a nice property, and I'll go and see them. And William will come around, and then we'll all get together like a one big happy family. Good luck with that, King Charles, because that ain't gonna happen. Not in a month of Sundays. So I think he's misjudging the situation. The guy makes mistakes, and this is a massive mistake. God knows what's going to happen. But if they do come back, I think for Harry and Meghan, not the kids, they're too young to realize, but for Harry and Meghan, it's going to be humiliating because, what are they going to do? They're not going to be, even if they do see the king, they're not going to be seen with the king. I don't think the king will go to his countdown party. I don't think the king will go to the Invictus Games real when they happen here. Certainly no one else will. So, as they say in Britain, Harry, with his return trip, and Meghan, they're both cruising for a bruising. It's not going to be.
You don't just say that in Britain. We say that here too. I think I stole it from Greece. Greece or Greece too.
There you go. Well, you see, we're not divided by a common language. They're cruising for a bruising. There's going to be trouble. There really will be.
Let me ask you about Sally Bedell Smith reminded me of this, that when she was watching the Netflix documentary, there were all of these, specifically there's an entrance that, and I won't say exactly which one it is, because if you haven't spotted it and you're oblivious, then that's fine. But Meghan captures through images and video private secret entrances to royal estates, and she shares this with Netflix. It goes up and for millions of people to watch, probably still to this day their most watched, most successful reality show. But Meghan has no respect for the protocol. Meghan has no respect for security concerns, despite her husband raising hell over their security concerns. Does it concern you at all that if Meghan comes back to the United Kingdom, she will be collecting images, video, information that she can later use to elevate herself through whatever media entity she chooses to, whether it's a carousel on Instagram or a new interview with a new magazine cover?
She's going to use it somehow to her own, or she will try to use it to her own advantage. Far be it from me to worry about Meghan's welfare. But I mean, my God, when she comes back here, she didn't just say, by the way, that the King and Catherine were racist. They were supposed to be racist because there was a conversation at one point between members of the royal family wondering what color Meghan and Harry babies would be. As far as we're concerned, she took our fun-loving Playboy Prince Harry, who was, really good fun. He got up to some naughty stuff, and that's what we liked about him. A young man with a lot of money, drinking, hanging out with the ladies. What was wrong with that? We loved it. She turned him into this kind of dope smoking bore full of woke claptrap politics that he can't even understand, full of words that are way too long for him. So she ruined him. And she turned him.
And it's not just you. I can tell you, I talked to somebody that currently works for the royal family, and I was trying to get him to say something negative about Harry, and he wouldn't say anything negative about Harry. He said that Harry was a victim, and that
Yeah.
Harry had been lured in by somebody who is a very negative influence on him. And that is literally the tone that I'm getting from people that still work within the family, that there is a little bit of sympathy because they feel like he's been brainwashed and manipulated by an evil source.
Yeah. I think it's just my opinion. I think he is the victim of coercive control. I think he's been brainwashed. I think he's been changed. He's been programmed by a woman who is a very strange person.
And if the tables were turned and a princess had been ripped from her household, her family, her tight unit, especially after the loss of a mother, and
Mhm,
had none of her friends, she was no longer talking to any of her friends, and she was alone in Montecito behind a big, wall of
mhm,
shrubbery, and we never saw her, and um, you know,
mhm.
she was lashing out in weird ways, doing bizarre interviews that didn't seem like herself. We would say that's an emotionally abusive relationship. We should check in on her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, but yeah, exactly. And what you see from that is a very unbalanced relationship. She's in charge. He does what he's told. There's no doubt about that. We don't like the fact that she's stolen our fun-loving playboy prince and turned him into a world-class woke bore. Spouting all of her Californian claptrap nonsense, psycho babble rubbish,
I
garbage.
know you wanted to say something else right there. I
I
watched you.
know
I
I did.
watched
I
you
know
pull
I
it
did.
back in. I
Family,
watched you pull it back
family
in.
audience, family
What
audience.
do you think about?
Seriously,
I
that's why. That's why she will not get a friendly reception if she comes back to Britain. I think she knows that, and that's why I
You're not sure she's going to be there.
reserve my judgment. I will believe her return when I see it.
I'm with you. What about I had a viewer reach out to me and say that she felt like Meghan would use the children as a human shield because
Mhm.
who's going to boo children? Unfortunately, we saw an idiot booing children at King Charles's birthday parade, and we saw Catherine's death stare at them when they booed the royal family as they passed. But the strategy that Meghan might be using the children as a human shield so people won't boo her or yell at her in public. I think it's an interesting idea. I can see her stooping to that level, but I also don't think we will see the children when they come. I think that they will do everything in their power to hide the kids, which I just think is going to create an even bigger frenzy.
Yeah, they'll have to. They'll have to. If she wants to keep up this weird business of never seeing the kids' faces. Well, in Britain, this is paparazzi city, and our paparazzi are the best, or if you like, the worst in the world. They get the pictures. I mean, they're good at what they do. So her, keeping the kids' faces secret, that won't last. And if they get pictures of those kids, whereas the British newspapers won't run any pictures because we have press rules, or the editors have agreed not to intrude on children's privacy. Even I reluctantly agree with that. You can't persecute kids. But paparazzi, they don't care about that. And there are lots of countries around the world that will run those pictures. I would suggest Australia will. And my bet is that the National Enquirer in your great country, America, won't hold back either. So she won't be able to keep the kids' faces a secret, which may be a reason why she won't bring them, or neither she nor the kids will come. But bringing them, make no mistake, if she does bring them, this is grand scale emotional blackmail. And this also, in my view, also, if she does come back with the kids and Harry, this is a desperate roll of the dice by a family who seriously needs some positive publicity. And they need also to recalibrate, reignite, if you like, their close relationship with the British royal family, because that's how they make their living. That's where their money is. And right now, they're looking like a million miles away from the British royals. So to come back, get a few stories. Oh, they saw the king and they're staying in this property. Oh, there's Harry, there's Meghan, and the sun's shining. That will drum up the kind of column inches that could be good for Harry and Meghan's bank balance, which is in some trouble now, as we all know.
So true. Put on a different hat for a second. If you are a fan of Harry and Meghan and you've spent a fortune on that crappy as ever
Yeah.
garbage and you have fiercely defended them online for the last 6 years and you're convinced that the royal family is racist and awful, are you feeling a sense of betrayal or confusion right now based on Harry and Meghan's contradictory behavior? If they are telling the truth and the royal family has negatively affected your mental health, has jeopardized your safety by ripping security from you because your child is half black, and they've made comments that are racist, why on God's green earth would you pursue a reunion with this toxic, terrible entity? Why would you not continue to reject them? If you are a Sussex supporter, how are you processing this information today?
Well, look, think about this, right? So Harry and Meghan, certainly in Britain, they're losing a lot of their media traction, their pulling power. We're getting less interested in them by the day. I think
100%. I totally agree with that. And this is my job.
yeah. And I think the story is the same in America, where recently they were voted, two of the least interesting members of the British royal family. So that, what we know, what we've learned about them, the only way they get publicity is through their fractious relationship with the King Charles, William, the British royal family. The media love a feud. However, they've been so distant for so long, the column inches are declining dramatically. Now, also, there's Meghan's ailing business as ever. She needs publicity to get that talked about. What's the best way that couple, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, can drum up publicity? Pretty easy. Get on a jet, passenger jet, fly to London and hang around with the king. Get that
But
story.
if you're a fan of Meghan Markle, are you able to process that? Do you see that this is a necessity for Meghan and Harry to survive? Or are you saying that the fan club has dwindled so much that Harry and Meghan aren't even concerned about upsetting the people that have been their core over the last 6 years, that they are so desperate to get back into mainstream likability that they would risk jeopardizing their relationship with their current fan base?
Yeah, that's very true. That's exactly the problem. And in terms of traffic to the As Ever website, I think from January to April it went down. It plummeted by 33%. She lost a third of her traffic and counting. We also know that she was so convinced that she'd make $1 billion selling jam, right? Really? That she bought in enormous amounts of stock in order to facilitate the vast number of sales.
That never happened.
She was convinced that she thought were inevitable. Those sales didn't happen, and we now know she's got like warehouses full of this overpriced jam and candles and God knows what. And most of it's foodstuffs. Foodstuffs have expiry dates. Now, it sounds as if this is a long time, but her expiry dates are next summer. So this time next year. Now you think, oh, that's no problem. Well, apparently she's bought in so much and sales are so slow that retail experts say she has got not even a remote chance of selling even a fraction of the produce that she's got on the warehouse shelves gathering cobwebs. And she's facing losses of more than $5 million. As Ever is on its last legs. So that's another reason why Meghan is looking for publicity in any way she can get it, because, as always, her default setting when anything goes wrong, when she's not making money, when As Ever is failing, I can be an influencer. I can wear clothes and sell them on a fashion website. So she's thinking about that. But in order to be able to do that, in order to be an influencer, She has to get the column inches, and those column inches have to be positive. Hence, she's flying back to Britain to see the king. Maybe.
Yeah. It really is kind of an admission of total failure, right?
Yes, it's such a failure. What did I always say? You and I agreed. It's just the most ridiculous business model. I
Mm.
know what I'll do. I'll sell mundane domestic products that you can get in 7-Eleven for $2, for $15, and sell a whole load of things like candles for astronomical prices. Who's going to spend $64 on a candle? Who's going to spend $14 for a jar of pretend jam when it's not even jam? Yeah, it was always absurd. When asked about it, what was it? What did she say? Well, jam is jam. My jam is jam. My
My
jam is
jam
my
is
jam.
my jam. My jam
My
is
jam
my
is my
jam.
jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Got anything else to say about it?
Hey everyone, Kinsey Schofield here, and I want to tell you about today's sponsor. It's a total game changer, Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. You may not know it, but your liver handles a lot: energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But with all the stress and toxins from everyday life, it needs some love. Forget harsh cleanses. Peak delivers gentle daily support inspired by traditional Chinese medicine. Their routine uses two simple blends. The first is a warming turmeric mix with cinnamon and black pepper, designed to help the body absorb it better and support the liver while calming inflammation. The second is a ginger and cinnamon blend that helps with blood flow, digestion, bloating, and immune support. The magic is how they work together to activate and flush for better digestion, stable energy, less brain fog, and that light, clear feeling. My energy is consistent, my skin is clear, and less bloating. That's Peak, where spirit meets science. Redefine your standard of health, secure 20% off your order, and begin your intentional wellness journey today at peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Thanks so much. This is kind of a boring discussion, so I apologize to the audience, but I think that there is a real, no, I mean, I think that there's a real discussion that could be had about the timeline, because to release products weeks, if not months, I think it was months after you released your lifestyle show. That was a poorly managed execution. When you had all the press you had at the beginning of With Love, Meghan, it is inexcusable not to have that product ready to go, not to have QR codes pop up on the screen. So if I'm watching her with the flower sprinkles, I could right it there in that second, I could order flower sprinkles. I mean, there is a real conversation to be had about her business strategy and the blatant mistakes that are. But at the end of the day, you've said this before, and you're absolutely right. You can't be an influencer if no one likes you.
You got to
But
be
there are
positive.
also some management issues when it came to the way that she and had her big 2025, the year of the Markle Sparkle. There were so many mistakes there business wise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's slapdash. Uh,
That's a great way to describe 2025.
nothing is cogent. It's not cohesive. She makes announcements and doesn't pull through with them. By the way, how's that latest of their many movie projects going? What was it called? The Dating Game or something?
No,
So
because the latest one is something about Afghanistan.
we got
We've moved on. We've got
another
three
one.
upgrade
Another one.
movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Look, all you need to know about the Sussexes and Meghan, if you is just take a look at their film projects. Yeah, we're going to announce it. Yeah, we're going to meet me at the lake with $3 million. Yeah, it's in development. Here we are, 3 years on, nothing. And then there's that other one. Is it the Dating Game? Is that what it's called?
The wedding date, I think it's called the wedding date.
Yeah, they announced that. Was it 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
Anything happened on it? Oh no, nothing. I know. And now that Afghanistan thing, anything happened on that? Oh no. That's all you need to know about those two.
Yeah.
Always making announcements. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to change the world. We're going to make $1 billion. No, you're not, because neither of you got the talent, or more importantly, the application. If you want, do you think Jeff Bezos became a billionaire with Amazon by just sort of making an announcement? I'm going to make a big packaging company. Oh, I'm going down the beach now. He didn't do it like that. You have to work your behinds off, your backsides off. She doesn't work hard, does she?
No.
And she loses interest in all of her projects and products way too soon. And I think she's had it with As Ever. I think that's all over. And As Ever, to use that phrase, she reverts to the possibility of influencing. And the problem there is the successful influencers. She gets a lot of publicity, but her problem is most of it is bad. Most of it is negative. Influencers, they have to be like the Beckhams. They have to 95% of their publicity has to be positive.
Let me ask you before we move on, how crappy was that Brooklyn Beckham? It reminded me of Harry, that Brooklyn Beckham DoorDash commercial where he's poking fun at his estrangement from his family. You might be wondering why I'm not at the World Cup. Nobody's wondering that. We don't like you. We don't like your wife. And he's basically poking fun at his dad. And I just thought, Brooklyn, you are such a brat. If I could backhand you, I would. I mean, I went out and I bought his mom's $110 foundation after I watched that commercial because I hate his little brat so much.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the Beckhams. I've had a lot of dealings with them in the past, and they're not easy to deal with. However, I do think they're loving parents, and they don't deserve the way Brooklyn is treating them. But Brooklyn, like his dad, he's not a genius, and he got sucked into that terrible commercial. Why am I not watching the World Cup? It's complicated. Actually, Brooklyn, it's not complicated. Here's what it is. You're a little and you just sold your parents down the river. It's horrible.
It's not that complicated. You married a terrorist like Prince Harry, okay? It's really it's super simple, actually.
Interesting. I never thought about that, but there probably are parallels, these not very bright guys being sort of sucked into the world of
American women.
Manipulative women.
Manipulative American women.
I'm here to tell you, Kinsey, that is not exclusive to American women. A lot of women are like that all over the world. I can assure you of that. So, but seriously, that's an interesting comparison between
well, and you're right. Like Victoria and David are the should have been the archetype that Harry and Meghan followed, but unfortunately, they thought that they were smarter than everybody else. And not only did they alienate the Beckhams by blowing up that friendship and that relationship, but they didn't listen to some of the advice that the Beckhams had given them about how to navigate this new world and how to be truly a power couple.
Yeah, no, exactly right. That is very interesting. The comparison. I mean, Harry and Meghan. Meghan's always struggled, so they see themselves as a power couple.
Yeah.
But one of their many problems, is that she has always struggled with royalty. She still doesn't understand royalty. She still doesn't understand there's a huge difference between royalty and celebrity. I think she's stunned by the fact that members of the royal family don't have agents. And don't have publicists.
Yeah.
Stunned by that. So she can't understand that. And of course, Harry's problem is he only knows what it is to be a royal. She's tried to lure him into the world of Hollywood celebrity, and he's hopeless at that, and he hates it. So you've got these two people from different worlds, both trying to adapt to each other's worlds and not doing it at all well. I mean, that's the other story, isn't it, about Harry and Meghan at the moment? How are things going for them? Because you do hear stories.
And Meghan's eating crow by coming back to the UK because we know she hates it.
Yeah, no, of course she is. If she does come back, then they're in a world of trouble. This will be a bit like when they went to Australia, only a little bit more subtle. this will be a money-making mission on the part of the Sussexes.
Mm.
There's no romance, there's no family love about this, and Meghan will have to eat crow, and I think Harry will too, because he's not going to get a police gun guard. I don't think so.
You
So
don't think? You don't think? I think if he comes back with the fit, maybe not permanently, which is what he's asking for, but I
only if he
think they
hangs
will
out with
get
the
it.
king. Only if
Pardon?
he's seen with the king. He won't get one on his own. I don't think so.
Really? Hmm. I think that
Because
he might if he comes with the children for this one trip. But what we know he's fighting for is uh, all the time for every trip, and they're saying, "No, you're not a working royal. Why would we do that?"
no, I mean he's not a working royal, and therefore there are all sorts of, to borrow Brooklyn's phrase, it's complicated.
Yeah,
But
because
there are also,
he has gotten armed security in the past
yeah,
recently.
yeah, there's a lot of nuances here.
Yeah.
First of all, he is not entitled to a police gun guard. He is not a frontline royal. Secondly, you're right. He can technically apply every time he steps out with Meghan or the kids, or even himself, for armed police protection. He can apply for it job by job, outing by outing, if you understand.
28
Uh,
days notice with the itinerary. Yeah.
and if he's hanging out with the king, he'll get it automatically. But my suspicion is, they won't wheel out the red carpet for this guy. They won't lay on police gun guards, because the government will be very cautious about this, because the people of Britain we do not want our tax money spent on a gun guard for a guy who ran away from his royal duties.
With Keir Starmer leaving, will Harry's relationship with this government change? Because Yvette Cooper has been instrumental in this, what they call Project Thaw, trying to inch Harry closer to a return. She helped him navigate the Ukraine
Foreign
speech.
Secretary, how helpful do you think she'll be when she gets the sack?
Well, that's what I'm asking. That's what is she going to maintain this position, or will under this new prime minister, might Harry's relationship with the current government change?
Well, it will, I think. And Yvette Cooper is going to struggle to maintain her own position as a member of the cabinet. She's one of the ones who is likely to get fired.
Wow.
She'll likely get moved away from the foreign secretary's job. So therefore, Harry's situation, his predicament, will not be any of her business. So I do think you're right. When Keir goes and Andy Burnham comes in, then I think Harry's position will be a little more difficult in terms of this government. So it is fascinating. But the main thing I'm looking out for, as we said at the outset of this conversation, I think Harry's coming back. There's no doubt about that, but we're
Right.
kind of used to that. My eye will be on whether or not Meghan and the kids accompany him. I genuinely think the jury's out on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And perhaps this is just, we have to give them 28 days notice. So let's plan for them to be there, because we have to give them 28 days notice. And then at the last minute, Meghan chickens out and says, you know what, I'm not bringing the kids over there. I could see that happening. I'm with you. I'll believe it when I see it. I think Harry and Meghan love playing games. They told People magazine that Meghan and the kids weren't coming 2 weeks ago. And then days later, there's this big exclusive that they're coming. The will they, won't they game over the years has been incredibly lucrative for them. And,
Yeah.
headlines are currency for these two weirdos. And
You're right.
I'm with you. I'm not convinced. Did you have anything else before I wrap?
Well, the last thing I would say is, if she does pull out and the kids pull out, of course Harry will put out a statement saying, "You see, I was going to bring the kids back and my wife to see the British people and the king, and you wouldn't give me security, you wouldn't give me armed cops. Therefore, it's your fault they're not coming back." If they do that, if he does that, the British people will tell him to go to hell in a handcart as fast as he can. But then again, I think we just leave him to do that on his own. He's doing a good job of it.
Exactly. All right. Agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. I'm back with Kev, I think, this week, unless all hell breaks loose in number 10.
I want you back on. Yes, of
Okay.
course I want you. We had a bit of a busy few days.
Yeah.
When we come off air, I'm going to ask you onto my show. So I've got a date for you. So
All right.
let's end this and then I'll ask you.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.